Ask how you got into Scientology.
Yeah, somebody knocked at my door and sold me a Dianetics book, and I opened it up, and it answered exactly the question I had at that moment, which was, I know my past is affecting me now. How can I stop it from affecting me adversely? And I started off in 1971, and it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience, a great adventure. I'm very happy.
Terrific. But do you have other family members who are in Scientology?
My sister.
And did she come in after you got in?
Yes.
Okay. How about your other family members? How are they reacting to it?
My other sister's a Catholic, very devout Catholic. My mother's a very devout Catholic too. My uncle, who recently passed away, was as high as you can be in the Catholic Church without being a priest. He was I forget, a deacon or something in the Catholic Church. He was a translator for the Vatican also. So my family's very Catholic, and I have much more respect for the Catholic Church now than I ever did when I was going to church.
Right. And I hope you can understand that when I'm talking about Scientology and speaking out against it, I just like to see some of the abuses reformed the same way that I appreciate those good Catholics who stood outside the church in Boston demanding that something be done about the child sex abuse.
I understand. I believe it's important to have a dialogue, and that's why I say I'm willing to discuss, what I can discuss. I know you made your point before, and I respect that.
Right.
But that's kind of like, that's an area that unfortunately I can't speak about. But
terrific. I appreciate that. I understand.
Any other aspect of it, situation with anybody, any disagreement. But I believe in peace, and everyone that's come up, this gentleman with the mask came up and shook my hand, and it was very cool. And I have no hatred here.
Good.
I have respect for these people and respect for the right to protest.
Good, and I certainly respect you for coming out and telling your side too, and speaking out.
What about you're public? You're public?
Yes, sir.
Now, so will you get in trouble, or are you PTS for being here? Or
no, I don't think so, but
like,
I'm a free thinker, and I'm allowed to do or think.
Do you mind saying what org you frequent or go to? Or?
Here and Celebrity Center.
So, like, when they're seeing this video on the internet, you're not going to have. Are you going to have to go through a sec check or an introspection rundown or anything?
No, sir.
Or have to.
They don't know that I'm here.
Okay.
I didn't ask anyone's permission to be here.
Do you understand that there may be a possibility that you'll have to clear up a PTS condition because of being here? Okay, right on. Fair enough.
Have any of your family members been considered PTS?
No.
So everyone in your family's cool with it? And
my brother, for a little while, he had some issues with it, and I sat down and discussed it with him, and we're totally cool.
Okay. I'm interested in what you're talking about with the free thinkers, and one of the things that, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but one of the things that surprises me about Scientology is the slogan, think for yourself. And I find as people get deeper and deeper into Scientology, they are essentially parroting L. Ron Hubbard's words. It seems like people's realities are being replaced by L. Ron Hubbard's realities. Okay. So psychiatrists are evil, and Scientologists accept that as the truth. Scientology's psychiatry is behind all the evil on the planet. I also I see that in many different ways and representations within Scientology.
I see. I think for myself, I think. It's hard when you're being subjective towards yourself sometimes to have the proper opinion of your own self. I think for myself. I hope I do. I read any book I want. I look at any internet site I want. And
you said you've been to my site.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What do you think of my site?
Well, I've seen pieces of it here and there. I think there's a lot of stuff on there that's, for example, some of the old issues that were cleared up are still brought up today as though they were still going on. Like let's say, fair game.
Right.
Cancel. Not allowed. You can't do anything illegal if you're a Scientologist. You can't. Or you just can't continue in Scientology.
And yet, Scientology continues to attack back anyone who criticizes them. We found, when I moved to Clearwater for a couple of years, working for the Lisa McPherson Trust, for instance, our vice president, Jesse Prince, who was once high in command inside Scientology. Scientology hired a PI to befriend him and actually gave him marijuana, and then called the police and had Jesse Prince arrested for having marijuana. And Jesse had to stand trial, and the jury found him not guilty.
Okay.
We tracked down one of the PIs involved in this, well, both of them. One of the PIs testified that he was paid $186,000 a year, just one person, to follow our movements
I can find
and to engage in.
I can find a cheaper PI than that.
Right, but do you think that a church?
I had a few stalkers. I had to fire a private investigator once. I had a kind of a stalker and a wacky.
Right. But do you think that a church should be using parishioners' money for things like setting up critics on phony drug charges?
Of course not. I don't know if that's true because I wasn't there.
Well, that's on the website. I have the entire audio testimony of the trial from the courtroom on my website. You can check it out.
Okay. Well, I say then to bring any charges through the legal system and call the cops and call the FBI if you feel there's a crime being committed. That's your right as an American citizen. It's your duty as an American citizen. It's my duty as an American citizen too, and it's my duty as a Scientologist. If I see a Scientologist doing something illegal, I got to stop, because we're all going to get painted with a broad brush. If I see somebody in Scientology doing something wrong or illegal, and I don't step up and say, "Hey, knock it off,"
right?
It's my damn fault. It's the same as a cop.
I respect that.
If a cop goes out and does something wrong or does something racist, all cops get painted with a broad brush, and that's not fair to police.
So if you see a Scientologist doing something which you believe is illegal, do you report it to the police, or how do you handle that?
I would first. Well, it depends on the severity of it.
Right.
If it's something actually illegal, yeah, I go right to the cops.
Okay.
Right to the cops. Absolutely.
But isn't it policy in Scientology to take issues to the church and use their internal justice system?
Pretty much on civil matters.
Right.
And such. But if there's a crime being committed.
And you say fair game was canceled. Have you read the fair game policy, and have you read the cancellation policy?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So you're aware that the cancellation, which came a couple of years after the fair game policy, the cancellation says that the use of fair game is not allowed in any written text because fair game gives us bad PR.
No, it's
this is exactly what it says.
Okay.
But it does not change anything about how we handle SPs.
Well, I don't.
That's what it says.
I've been a Scientologist since '71. I'll tell you, I would never do anything bad to an SP.
Well, I appreciate that.
I never would.
Are there people within Scientology that might?
If I know them, I would certainly call them out and tell them to knock it the fuck off.
Okay.
Because that's not cool, it's not right, it's not legal.
So if we bring forth the incidents where we can show that Scientology has done that in the past, for instance, in their global assault on Bob Minton, you would condemn that?
Absolutely. And understand also that Scientology is Scientologists, and Scientologists, just like there are Christians who may not uphold their faith and do something wrong in the name of Christianity, the same as Islam. I've been to Malaysia and Indonesia many times. I have so many great friends that are Islamic people. I've been to Turkey and another Islamic country. I've got great friends there. I have so many great Islamic friends. So I don't paint Islam with that brush, but there are some people of the Islamic faith who don't like Americans and don't like the United States. So that doesn't paint the Islamic faith as being bad. It paints the individuals. And if there are bad individuals in Scientology, I believe they should be removed. I believe they should be taken care of, and I believe if they've done something illegal, they should have to pay the consequences in the court system and with the justice system. And that's a fact, and I'm sure you'll agree with me there.
I do.
Anyone
I do.
would.